And welcome back to CPAC. Mike Crispi here for Right Side Broadcasting. I am here with a very special, some say the greatest doctor in the history of the country, Congressman Ronny Jackins here. Ronny, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're in your home state of Texas. So tell us, CPAC today, the energy, it's in your state. What was your message when you took the stage today, and how you feel about the day so far?
No, I think it's great. I'm really honored to have CPAC here in Texas. It's a big honor for our state to have such a great organization doing such great work here. And so I'm of course glad to be home because I do live here. This is my home state, as you mentioned. The enthusiasm is fantastic here, just like it was in Florida when we did CPAC, earlier in the year. The enthusiasm is through the roof here. These are real patriots here who care about what's going on in our country. They're concerned about the direction that we're taking, and they're activists, and that's what we talked about today. The talk I gave was about being a conservative activist. Right?
Yeah.
And when you think of activists, you think of PETA and things like that. You don't really think of conservative causes.
Absolutely.
But we have to adopt that mentality that as conservatives, modern day conservatives, we need to be activists for the causes that we believe in. So that's what we talked about today.
Activism in the Republican Party. It's the only way that we're going to take back the House. Speaking of which, the House coming up 2022, you have now emerged as a leader in the Republican Party. So talk about the plan for Congress to take it back in 2022 and what kind of role you're playing in that fight.
Well, I think I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens. One of the things that we worried about whenever President Trump left the White House, a lot of people were worried with the Republican Party split. There were a lot of disgruntled, people that were just discouraged, and I was one of those, right?
Yeah.
And so we were worried that people would just get discouraged and not want to vote again, or just withdraw, or people would split off, and and the party would fracture. That has not happened, and that's in a large part because of President Trump. He's doing great things right now. He's really holding the party together. He's still the leader in the conservative party right now. The movement that he started, the Make America Great, Keep America Great agenda, has done nothing but thrive since he's left the White House. And we're looking forward to listening to him speak on Sunday.
Absolutely.
But I'm doing everything I can to make sure that we keep the momentum we had. We were supposed to lose 15 seats in the midterm election last time, and we won 15 seats.
Absolutely.
Right? So we're just 3 or 4 seats short of getting the majority back. We're going to do that, and we will get the House back in 2022.
Love that. Yeah. And I love, honestly, President Trump. His movement is growing. I mean, we were there in Sarasota and saw him went up by 10 million votes from the last election to this. So you're pointing out something very special. I want to ask you, because you have somewhat of an unconventional rise to Congress. Right. You're obviously President Trump's physician, had been in the White House. So what was for the viewers out there at home, what was the story for you? What was the moment where you decided that you wanted to leave the White House as a physician, run for Congress? That's obviously a very unique story in of itself.
Right. Well, what happened is I never considered politics, never even thought about being a politician, never really crossed my mind. I was a retired Navy Rear Admiral. I was a physician, and so I was at the White House. I was still on active duty, and I was still working as a physician at the White House, although I wasn't doing clinical stuff anymore. I was doing mostly policy stuff. But, when I went through that process for the VA nomination, it was so brutal. I tell people, the way I think of it now is I got Kavanaugh before Kavanaugh did. I didn't know it at the time, but I was the warm-up. I was the pregame, right? And it was such a distasteful process going through that and seeing the deep state in full swing, and how people were Republicans. They were supposed to be supporting our president. We're out there trying to pick his cabinet for him so that they could have people in cabinet positions that they'd have influence over. That's really what it's all about. They saw me as a loose cannon. They made comments like, well, we can't let that guy in because he didn't answer anybody but the president, which, by the way, would have been my job as a cabinet secretary, right? But that's not what the deep state and some of these Republicans that were working, to make that happen wanted. So anyways, I got really disgruntled by the whole process. And what happened is at one point, I was just turning the TV on one day. I saw that Mac Thornberry was not going to run for Congress again in the 13th Congressional District of Texas, the Texas Panhandle, the area I grew up in, and it just dawned on me all at once, and this was late October of 2019. It just dawned on me, I can get in this fight and I can make a difference. I can go represent those folks without changing anything about who I am or what I believe, politically, socially, culturally, economically, and so I did. I just went to the Oval Office that day. I walked in, I told the president I was leaving. He was like, what do you mean you're leaving, right? And he said, what? He thought something was wrong with my family or something.
Yeah.
I was like, no, and I said, no, sir, I'm running for office. He's like, what?
Yeah.
We sit down and we talked about it for a few minutes, and from that point forward, I was in the race, and I got in 6 weeks before the filing deadline. I filed 2 hours before the filing deadline.
Oh, my God. I think it's a great story because, you had been with the White House. You had served under previous administrations. And you're not, a partisan guy. You were serving your country, right, and you were inspired to do it because of what you saw, the misdeeds of those people on the Hill who were doing it for their own reasons. So tell us a little about your relationship personally with President Trump. Obviously, you have a special relationship with him. Where do you think his head's at? As obviously he's headed into some very important time now, the midterms. I know he's going to be actively involved. Just talk a little about your ongoing conversations with the president, and where you think his head's at and how you're helping him.
Well, he's in a great place right now. I tell you, I see him pretty frequently, and I saw him maybe like a week and a half ago, and of course I'll see him on Sunday, and I'm going to see him in Bedminster next week as well. So I see him pretty frequently. He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
He looks rested. He's lost some weight. I mean, he looks super energized. I mean, he looks really, really good. And I'm telling you, man, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with if he decides he wants to run again, which I hope that he does. Either way, though, he is going to dictate a lot of what happens, most of what happens in this party. He's still leading our party. And so I'm pretty excited about seeing him, and I think that, I think everybody here is really fired up and following his lead, and I think that he's doing a great job of kind of navigating these waters right now.
That is a correct diagnosis from the doctor, the greatest doctor in the country, Congressman Ronny Jackson. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you at CPAC.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right.